Hi people, welcome to my channel. My name is Chinyere. If you are coming on my channel for the first time, please don't forget to subscribe. So basically today's video is going to be me talking about things that I started doing or I stopped doing when I actually grew up and I became very intentional about how I live my life and the kind of energy that I want to give off. I think that over the last couple of years I've changed so much from the girl that I was at 20, from the girl that I was at 22, from the girl that I was at 25 and even at 30, and now I'm 33. I think I've changed so much and it's really the growth, the constant growth for me. And so I have noticed over the couple of years so much has changed about me. There's so much that I used to do that I no longer do, that I can't even imagine I was doing. But then I mean, we're human beings and we're growing, and so you know, I just sat down and I said, you know what, these are things that I used to do and I no longer do them, or these are things that I never used to do but I now do them. And so we're just going to talk about it. So the very first thing has to be passing comments about people's bodies. And it wasn't really like there was a time when I used to just sit down and say, oh, this person is like this, but I would say that there were times when I got into conversations where people would talk about people's bodies, you know, how big their breast is, or how small their bum is, or how slim they are, or how fat they are. And it's so crazy that you would get into conversations like this unconsciously just because you thought it was just okay. I thought it was okay to do. You know, over the couple of years, growing to accept my body at the different stages of my life, before motherhood and then after being a mother, which I really think that being a mother makes you very compassionate and also makes you empathetic. And so just going through the stages, or you know, looking at my body from where it was and you know what it is now, I've really learned to understand that people are built the way they're built. We're not all supposed to look alike. We're not all supposed to look a certain way, even though these days the media and social media is pushing a particular body type on us. But the truth is that the variety is important. You know, the fact that we're all different is what makes the world sweeter to live in. Another thing is that when you pass comments about people's bodies, a lot of times those are things that they are battling with, so it doesn't make any sense to pick on things that people have a problem with or people are very insecure about. So one thing that has always, you know, and I'm not going to say that there are no times when I unconsciously would make a comment like, oh, this person is like this, but I really have to remind myself and say, if this person could choose to look perfect, which is what the world would see as perfect, I'm sure if they could do that, they would actually do that. I'm saying, even in my head, you know, when you see someone's picture and there's that thing where you want to comment about one of their body parts, even subconsciously I am learning to block that out. I'm learning to look at everybody as beautiful. It's not easy, but it's just something that I think gives me peace within myself, because if I'm looking at people as beautiful, then I'm going to see myself as beautiful at whatever stage that I'm at, or however I'm going to look in the future, or you know, wherever it is that my body is at that point in time. And I just think it has really helped me in terms of confidence and just the way I see myself. Not just physically commenting on the person's body, subconsciously in my mind seeing the picture and even just thinking it, I try not to do that. Another thing that I've also been doing is I've been a lot more honest about situations. It comes from a place of self-acceptance, because it gets to a point where you need to know who you are, the things that you like, the values and your morals, things that you stand for. And I think with that, a lot of more honest conversations I had. But I think I've just been a lot more open about things, and it'll probably show in my vlogs and all of that. And I just find it freeing, you know. I find it to be a form of freedom for me to be able to openly express how I feel about certain situations, how I feel about certain topics, and not to say that my views on certain things won't change, but being the person that I am at the moment, what do I think about this? It's just easy to live. For me, it's just easy to live a very honest life. It's very easy for me to live a life where I'm not telling lies, where I'm not trying to link this lie with today's story, where I'm not trying to remember a lie that I told 2-3 months ago. It's just easier for me to have honest conversations and just be very honest about who I am, or what I believe in, or what I think a situation is like at the moment. That has just been it for me. Another thing that I've also learned to do is to be open to more interests, and I think it's very easy to just go through life doing the things that you've always known, or the things that you were raised to do, and not want to venture into other things. But I would say that it's a very gradual process, considering that a lot of people don't like to take risks and a lot of people don't like to try new things. I am not very good with change. I like routines. I like things to happen as they've always happened, and when there's like a slight change in routine, it throws me off balance almost completely. And so trying to learn new things and trying to include new things into my life it's a bit difficult, but I would say that I'm trying. For example, I started learning to swim last year and I've gotten a lot more comfortable in water. I started learning to box. I would usually just go for cardio, but I looked at boxing and I'm like, you know what, let me try this. Okay, let me try this. And I started trying boxing, and I love boxing so much. It's the little steps. I'm very young, I have my whole life ahead of me, but I'm definitely open to trying things. I like that when new opportunities come, I'm not completely shut out in my head, and I'm not just saying, oh, I don't think I want to do, I've never done this before, I've never seen anybody in my family doing this before, so I don't want to do it. So I like that I'm a lot more open to when things come. I'm thinking, you want to give it a go, you know, maybe take some time out, think about it, you know, just process in your head if it's something that you want to do. And I know that I'm not there yet, because there are a lot of things that I want to do and I'm just constantly doubting myself, and I'm just saying, I don't know if I want to try this, I don't know how good I am going to be at it. But I like that I've been able to take a few steps in that direction, and I've enjoyed doing that. I also think that when it comes to things like this, it's also so good, especially when you have children, you're raising children, you want them to see that you're willing to go out, you're willing to try new things. And I think it just in a way inspires them and motivates them to also want to do things like that when they grow up, because they can say, oh, I know that mommy tried this, I know that mommy did this, I know that mommy did this. And I just think that it affects my children's lives as well, and it's something that I can also pass on to them. Another thing that I've also learned to do is to give myself grace and to be able to forgive myself. I've learned that I'm not in competition with anyone, and that life happens differently for everybody. And I've learned that even if I'm not in a certain place at the moment, it's not because I'm not as good, it's not because I'm not worth it, it's not because I don't have as much value, but it's just because it's a journey and we're all on different journeys, and I can only try my best. But the thing is, am I pushing myself? Am I doing enough? You know, am I meeting up to my own standards? Am I trying to do something every day that will lead me to that target? You have to have really learned to love and accept yourself for who you are, and value yourself, to know that mistakes that you've made or the things that you've done don't define you as a person, and that life is just, you know, it's very gradual, and that there are so many things that we would encounter along the line, and there are things that we would do that we'll not be proud of. But have you learned to forgive yourself? Have you learned to look back and think, okay, I did that when I was in a place where I didn't have as much knowledge, I was ignorant, I didn't love myself as much, and so I'm ready to move forward and forgive myself. And then I've also learned with giving myself grace, that you cannot compare your physical, mental and emotional health with someone else's. And that's the reason why you would find people in, you know, doing the same job, or it looks like they're in similar situations, and then they are producing different results, and that's because we're not the same. So that also comes with comparison as well. I've learned that I cannot perform at the same capacity as Mrs. A or as Mr. B. I've just really learned to understand myself and to just move gradually at my own pace. Something else that, and I think this has to be the last one, I'm open to change, and that no situation is permanent. And I think this has a lot to do with relationships, marriage, friendships, situationships, whatever it is that you're dealing with. So we get into things where we think that we are bound to die there, like it has to be a we die there situation. And so I have learned to position myself in a way that I understand that all situations are not permanent. You just really need to know where to draw the line. You need to know when something is not, a situation is not healthy and again for you, and the situation is not serving you well, and you just need to know when to step out, when to walk out, when to walk away, when to move on. I find change difficult, like I said before. It's definitely something that I've looked into, and something that, you know, I've had to train my mind about, because I've had situations where a relationship is not working and I'm just like, you know what, there's no need to be here. Like, I just drop it. We all know when something is not good. You know when you're constantly obsessing over something and you're trying to ask yourself why you are still in that situation. Relationships are difficult to build. They're not easy, you know. Friendships are not easy to grow. They're not easy to build as well. People have beautiful marriages and beautiful relationships as a result of the work that they've put into this. But I can tell you that when there's toxicity in a relationship or in a marriage, you will know, or in a friendship or in a work situation, it can be anything at all, you will know. And you know when it's time to move on. But there's that thing that makes you feel like you don't want things to change. You don't want the routine of things to change. If it's a friend that you've been maybe doing business with for a long time and you're in business together, one thing you're thinking about is, oh, how do we change documents, oh, how do we change the business name? And at times like that, that's a situation I'm talking about, where you're thinking about, you know, all the factors surrounding you moving on and moving into a healthier and safer zone. So basically, this is just me just saying that I've learned to understand that there's no situation that is permanent. There are no relationships, no situationships, no work situations that should be permanent in your life. Always be willing to move forward and to change, and just know that if you're closing one chapter, it's automatically the beginning or the opening of a new chapter. And that's what I always say, and I think it's a fear that a lot of people have. But just have at the back of your mind that when you're ending something, you're opening the door to something new and probably, hopefully, something more beautiful. And I'd like you to share with me in the comments, you know, how much you've grown and the things that you have started doing or started putting in place since you started noticing your growth journey. Let's put it like that, because I think that we grow, but then there's a point in your life when you notice that I have actually grown. Like, you can look back and say, yes, I have actually obviously intentionally grown. So let me know in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a short one, but I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in my next one. Bye.